Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Harnessing the Power Through Social Media, hosted by NAPW. We would like to take a quick moment to welcome our members joining us today. For those of you who are not familiar, NAPW is an online and face-to-face community made up of over 850,000 professional women who join together to cultivate valuable business connections, develop professionally, and promote themselves in their businesses. You can learn more about NAPW online at napw.com. Today's webinar is part of our series called Horizons Insights. We offer interactive virtual events and content featuring experts who can provide deep insight on the issues that help us shape our careers. Now, before I introduce our wonderful speaker, here's some housekeeping. As you can tell, everybody's on mute. Questions. On the side panel, there's an opportunity for you to present your questions. Throughout the webinar, Andrea may take some depending on the flow. She may jump on them at the end, but please submit your questions. If we don't get to them on this webinar, we will get to them after. It's crucial that we continue the conversations. And this is always the biggest question. Recordings of the webinar will be emailed after the session, and they're also available on this platform. Well, enough about us. I am thrilled to introduce Andrea Vall. I hope I said that right. Oops.
Yes, you did.
If you've had a chance to check her out, Google her, check her LinkedIn profile, I have to say she's quite impressive. I'm a marketer, and I'm a little wary on these, and she's amazing. She's a social media speaker and consultant who's just passionate about helping businesses understand and leveraging the power of social media to grow, and that's what we're here to do. So enough of my speaking. Andrea, I'm going to pass it over to you. Thank you so much for presenting today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor to be here. I love talking about social media, so this is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited. So let's just kind of dive into a little bit about what we're going to learn today, and you probably have seen this. We're going to go into the best practices across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. We're going to talk about growing your list, building relationships, positioning yourself as an expert and authority, and then getting referrals from social media. So lots to talk about today, and along the way I'm also going to share what I think are really good basic strategies that you can use on each platform. So before we dive into all this, I'm just going to share a little bit more about how I started, because it's kind of a little bit of a journey here. And I actually was an engineer, a mechanical engineer, when I started my career, and I ended up in the telecom area, and I was laid off during the telecom bust. But along the way, I had a one-year-old son at the time, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stay home, be at home with my son, and I had to do something on the side. So I started an in-home wine tasting business, which was really perfect with a one-year-old son at home. It worked out really well. I got to drink on the job. No, it was a really fun business. And that's when I started using social media. And I started using it to promote my business. And I was kind of growing that, and people saw what I was doing, and I was really loving what Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn could do for businesses. And people started to ask me, if I could teach them how to do it. So I started my business consulting that way, and I decided to start my blog a little differently. I blogged as Grandma Mary's Social Media Edutainer. And I had done improv comedy at the time, and so that was kind of my start. I thought, I'm going to be a little different, a little entertaining with my blog, and I'm going to kind of have a little fun with it. And as my social presence grew, I then was asked to write the book, Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies. So you never know how social media can help you, because I was growing my platform and I ended up with a book deal. And I really had never thought that would be possible for me, and now I get to speak all over the world and do this full time, and I love it. And you know, as a blogger, I still get to drink on the job. No, I'm just joking. I also do stand-up comedy, so that's my other little outlet I have. I always have to have a little humor in here, have a little fun. Because if you're not having fun in your business, I think you got to figure out how to bring more of that in. So that's just a little bit about where I came from. I also worked with Social Media Examiner for 2 years, which is a fabulous online site for social media tutorials, and still speak at their events and things like that. So the journey, I think, is always exciting, and social media can really take you places that you never thought possible, really. So great, let's dive in, and hopefully hopefully the echo isn't too bad. I don't know if I need to call in again, but I'm not sure if that's just me or whatever. So we'll just keep going and kind of hope that the sound quality is good for everyone. So let's talk about why social media matters. The biggest thing, I think, is you get to stay top of mind with your customers. That's a huge piece of social media. You're popping into the minds of your customers, where your customers are at, and they're on social media. That's where people are hanging out. There's over 2 billion people on Facebook now. It is digital word of mouth. People, if you're not there on social media, people are already having conversations about your business, and you need to be there participating. It can also help you drive traffic to your website, and you get search engine benefits. So there are lots of amazing benefits with social media, and you just need to take advantage of them and make sure that you have the strategy to take advantage of them. Awesome. So just a little bit of background on social media users. These stats are a little bit older, but like I said, there's over 2 billion people on Facebook now. YouTube is one of the biggest search engines. You don't think of YouTube as a search engine, but because YouTube is owned by Google, those YouTube videos come up in searches very easily. Also, people are searching on YouTube for things, so being on YouTube can really help you get discovered. All these other social sites are growing really well, but Facebook still is the place to be here. You can see that the monthly average or percentage of people who are on these social sites, Facebook has a really high percentage. So a lot of times I am recommending that people, if they're going to focus on one, take a look at Facebook, but also make the right call for you. LinkedIn might be the place where you want to focus. All of these social sites can do well for different types of businesses. I've seen, funeral homes on Twitter, and I've seen, all different types of businesses using different social sites to really brand themselves. And the other thing that's challenging is we have a lot to compete with. If you can get into the dog and cat business, definitely that can be helpful, because it is hard when you see 17 million people watch this little dog video of the poor little dog tripping down the stairs. And those kinds of things are the things that go viral, where as a business, it's a little bit more challenging to get the attention of your potential audience. So you do have to have a little fun on social media. That's what people are looking for. They're looking for a little relief. They're looking for some humor from time to time. So it is important to kind of have a little fun there. This is a client of mine who runs an exercise boot camp, and definitely posts some fun things from time to time. Really, posting just fun little pictures and reaching a good portion of his audience. You have to be interesting. So just a regular post about your business isn't always that going to get that much interaction. So mix it up a little. Give people some reason to connect with you, and re-engage your audience. The other thing that's working really well right now is images and video, and that is across the board on all social sites. So, everything really should have something visual with it. Video is really, really growing. So think about your video strategy. How are you using video in your business? And I'll give you some really great ideas here coming up. But again, this post about the puppies was from a doggy daycare. So that kind of thing can be fun. But even just having video that is kind of a series of images can help engage your audience because it's moving. People see it and it attracts their eye in the news feed. And then, like I mentioned before, everything should have an image or video with it. So even LinkedIn, even Twitter, should be having some sort of image that goes along with it. This image on the right is from Twitter, and it's a text quote, but it's turned into an image, and it takes up more space in the news feed and is more visible as people are scrolling. People, I love to watch people scroll through Facebook or through Instagram or whatever, and I watch and you see they'll pause and look at something again and scroll back up to it because something catches their eye. So people are consuming content very quickly, and you have to grab their attention with something that is visual, that is interesting to them. Behind the scenes works really, really well. So, sometimes people wonder, well, what can I post? Things aren't that interesting. I was working with a nonprofit the other day, and they were like, we aren't always out getting pictures. How can we use more visuals? And just even showing your office and what you're doing that day, or your desk or something like that that helps humanize your business can really bring that engagement in. So, this was an example of someone baking bread at their bakery. I spoke at the Colorado Agriculture Leaders Group and was looking at farmers. What are farmers doing online? And they're just showing pictures of them out working in the fields, and that kind of thing is getting tons of views. People love that behind-the-scenes kind of peek into your business. So don't be afraid to show the real you. When you go out to a networking event, you're showing up as you. You're talking to other people, and people sometimes think, well, I don't want to post selfies. That feels so promotional. But people want to see you. They want to see your face, they recognize you, and especially if you are the face of your business, you have to kind of consider doing that kind of thing. Posting videos of you talking will really help people feel connected to you. And video interviews are an amazing tool that you can use. So on the left here, this is a tool called BeLive.tv. It's BeLive.tv, and it's a tool that will broadcast to Facebook live streaming, and you can have side-by-side interviews with the names underneath, and you can take questions within that. You can actually pop the questions up on the screen so that it's a really interactive experience for people because you are live on the screen there, and you've got two people talking. So if you're shy about going on video camera by yourself, it's easier with two people, right? And then on the right is just, an easy way to do an interview if you're in the same place. You can go live, or you can have a recorded interview that you take and upload. And you have to be using, on Facebook, you have to be using the video system that is uploaded directly to Facebook. Facebook doesn't play that well with YouTube. Facebook is kind of trying to take over the video world and is pushing video farther into the news feed than other types of posts. So having a video strategy can help you get more organic reach with video. So let me just show you another. Oh yeah, so I've also got some other video tips here in just a bit. But the other thing that you want to do on social media is just ask questions and have people share their experience. So just by saying, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Or share a picture of your puppy. This is a dog food, or it's a pet store, pet supply store. So think about ways you can ask for other people to give their opinions, to share their thoughts with you. And sometimes that question may not resonate, but don't give up, because you can still grab people's attention, especially if you're asking a question with a photo included, so that they can see that, have that be more visible, and participate in that conversation. And tagging and talking to others, this is a big one, because sometimes I see businesses just posting all about themselves all the time. And if you can occasionally promote someone else, lift another business up. If you have a local business, tag other local businesses and say, hey, I just went into this store and it's fantastic, and I love this business. Go visit them if you can. That gives a lot of goodwill to help others share your things as well. And this is an example of a video interview there where they were interviewing people from the different pages and tagging them as well. And when you tag other people on Facebook especially, that gets more visibility. And it also gets more visibility on the other social sites as well. But it's, people get notifications that they've been tagged, and it gives them the opportunity to comment on your post as well, and it gets more engagement overall. So let's dive into the social sites a little bit and talk about each one specifically with my recommendations on what to do. So Facebook, I'd just like to be super clear about what everything is about, because sometimes people don't know exactly what they're looking at with the social sites, and it can be really confusing. So when you first log into Facebook, you're going to log into your personal profile, and you're going to see immediately the news feed. And that news feed is really where everything happens. That's going to be where your posts from your friends, the pages you've liked, the groups you're in, and ads all show up in that news feed. Now your news feed is a personalized view just for you. So you don't have to worry about if you've got a crazy nephew who's posting wild pictures, and you don't have to worry that other people are going to see that. Like if you have business contacts, they're not going to see that information that your nephew posted because they're not connected to your nephew. So this is a personalized view just for you. And what you see is really based on how often you're interacting with things. And the group posts, even if it's a closed group or a private group, they also show up in the news feed, but it's only because you are in that group. That's why you see that post in your news feed. Ads are also showing there based on how the advertiser is targeting. So the advertiser might be targeting you based on certain interests you have or pages you like, or if you've been to their website before, you might see an ad in your news feed or on the sidebar because of that. So this is a personalized view for you on everything you're connected to. I really recommend using all areas of Facebook. You want to think about using your personal profile every once in a while to post about your business. Now, some people don't care for that, but the truth is sometimes business people that you connect to are connecting to you personally. And you can lock down your privacy and do some things to adjust your privacy settings so that you're only showing certain things to certain groups of people on your personal profile as well. The other thing is your personal profile does get more visibility in the news feed, so that's a good reason to share it occasionally. I had a friend of mine who is a interior designer, and she was talking to a woman who was a mutual friend, and the woman was telling her, oh, I'm just redoing my whole house, and we're spending $70,000 all on this whole new interior design. And my friend who's an interior designer said, did you know I'm an interior designer? And she said, oh my gosh, I had no idea. If I would have known, I would have used you. So that's why it's a good idea to make sure that your friends know what you do as a business, because that gives them a chance to either use your services or refer you. Your warm audience can often be your best source of referrals. So it's, definitely think about sharing that information occasionally with your friends and family about what's going on in your business, because that will help you get more business. And then, of course, if you have a business, your Facebook page is still essential to some people ask, well, should I even be using a Facebook page if we're not getting as much reach there? It's a little bit more challenging. People see my personal posts a little more. But you do need a page, because people, if you're going to do any advertising, you need to use your page to do that. And sometimes people really just want to connect with your page. They're not a fan of friending your profile, and they want to get more information just about your business. And then Facebook groups are becoming a great place to network and connect, and they are more visible in the news feed. So you can think about creating your own group, or growing or joining a group to participate in, or using a private group as a forum for your business. A lot of times businesses have user groups that are within Facebook, and they're doing that because Facebook is where people are hanging out. So why not create a group there to participate in? The personal profile is this is how it can look, and you can kind of connect your business page there within your personal profile by saying you work at your business page. So that's a good thing to do, so that if people are looking for your business, they have a place to find it. You can use your About section to share more about what you do in your business. But you can control these privacy settings really, really well. So you can say, I only want to share my pictures of my kids with a smaller group of relatives or a smaller group of friends. And I can control which posts go to which groups of people, so that if I want to share a more business-oriented post, I can have my business connections see that post and not my relatives if I don't want them to bother them with a business-oriented post. And this is where you check out your privacy settings. So it's in the, if you go into the upper right corner of Facebook, there's that drop-down arrow, and you can go into your privacy settings there. It's at the bottom of that menu, and now you can go ahead and check out the fact that how your profile is set up, who can connect to you, who can see your posts and things like that. You can do that on each individual post as well, so that they help restrict who can see that. That's how you only show your pictures of your kids to certain groups. And your Facebook page, sometimes people get a little nervous about this because it looks like it's very connected to your personal profile. But it actually is very separate. If someone goes to a Facebook page, you can't see who the admins are. You can't see any personal information there. You can actually make sure that you see what you want by looking at your page as a visitor rather than as an admin, because as an admin we see more information here than what a visitor would see. So you can make sure that it looks all correct as a new visitor. But again, people aren't going to see your personal posts through your page, even though you log in through your personal profile and your personal profile picture is at the top. It is very, very separate. And there is less organic reach. That's one of the challenges of Facebook pages. But like I mentioned, there are things you can do to get more organic reach, like videos. Facebook groups are another great way to market your business. You can join groups. I'm a member of some National Speakers Association groups, some local groups, some business-oriented groups, my local chamber group. You can connect in there, post in there, and the one challenge is your Facebook profile is the one that is connected into those groups. So the benefit of being in groups is that groups are more visible in the news feed. But if you do start a group, you have to realize that all the posts are more visible, and you a group is going to require a little more moderation than a page, because those posts go out to the whole group rather than, a page kind of is controlling the conversation a little bit more. So organic reach with video. This was an example of just a video I did. I was at a conference. I just wanted to share a quick tip, and I just created some content really quickly there on my phone. You can also go live with your desktop now, which is great for people who don't want to kind of eat up their bandwidth on their phone. If you are on your network, I do recommend being on Wi-Fi if you are going to use your phone to do any broadcasting, because there's just a little bit better connection there. But Facebook, like I said, is pushing these videos farther into the news feed because they want to be the source for video going forward. And they give higher visibility while that video is live. So if you do go live with a video, your fans will get a notification that you are live right then. And I like that you don't have to worry about editing. I just, sometimes video can feel a little overwhelming because you have to try and make it perfect. If you do make a mistake on the live video, you can always delete that and start over. And you don't have to worry too much about people seeing that, because it would be just a quick little blip and then you would start over. But people like to see you being yourself, and so you don't have to worry about it being super, super scripted. A lot of times what I do with my desktop video is I will just put a little sticky note of the things I want to talk about right near the camera, right near the webcam, so I can remember what I want to say while I'm on that live video. I'm typically doing somewhere between 2 to 5 minutes of a video tip, or just kind of talking about a thought, and it's a really easy way to create content, and you can then repurpose that content by downloading it and putting it in other places. So if you are going to upload a video, you can have, I recommend having captions or text, and actually Facebook will create these captions for you. You just have to go in and edit them, and they do a really good job of actually kind of coming up with the words for your captioning, and it doesn't take too much time to edit them, so that's kind of a nice thing. But 85% of video views are with the sound off. And you can also do a slideshow video. If you don't want to be on screen, you can have several different pictures and maybe have some captions in there. And videos are available in ads as well. I typically find that images convert a little bit better than a video ad. I think people get kind of caught up in just watching the video. So here's a little strategy for you. And again, this is kind of a basic strategy. You may find something different for yourself. You may not be, you may feel overwhelmed with posting once a day. If you're only posting once a week, consider just upping that a little bit to 2 or 3 times a week and kind of watching how that does. Make sure that you're really thinking of what is going to serve your audience with good content and not just all promotional content. And then I recommend using Facebook ads on your best content. So when you see content doing really well, getting a lot of link clicks perhaps, then you can say, let's boost that post out and get even better results with that. So awesome. Let's move on to Instagram. I don't know if there's any quick questions from Facebook. I haven't been watching the, watching that a little bit. Okay, great. Okay, where do we find good content to post? That's a great question. And definitely, I definitely look at having maybe 3 to 5 sources in your niche that are your go-to sources for good content, but then make sure that you're kind of adding your own perspective on that content. So you would want something that's, obviously not from a competitor, that's kind of making sure that it's good tips in your niche. And I usually go and find, some go-to resources there that I will just always pull out as the type of posts that I want to post. So the other question was, the video interview webpage is BeLive.tv. So that's the place where you can go to get that video interview. And then I'll get to the others at the end. We'll have a little more time. So Instagram Basics. It is a mobile-focused platform. It's very difficult to post from desktop onto Instagram. It can be done with some tools, but really it's kind of a very mobile-oriented platform. And images are those main posts. You can use video, of course, but you won't have a link in your post unless you are advertising. So you can't have links. You can have them as text, but they won't be clickable. The only link is in your bio. And so sometimes people say link in bio so that people then go check that out to go over to the website that you were talking about in your post. It's very, very visually oriented. And it is owned by Facebook, and it's kind of similar to Twitter in that you've got followers and you're following other people. They have public, private, or business accounts. So you can have a business account where you get a little bit more information on the insights and the stats of your account. And then hashtags are very important on Instagram. So here's what it looks like on desktop. And so, if you want to go search on desktop, I like using my desktop sometimes to search for hashtags, to go and look at someone's profile real quick. But you can also look at that on mobile. And I'm actually showing fairly personal posts myself on Instagram rather than business-oriented, but I am advertising on Instagram. So there's 3 different types of posts that you have available. It's really images and video and stories, which could be video or images. And here's how they look. So the images post looks like this with some type of image. You can have a lot of text in there. You can have hashtags within that. And then the video looks like this, and it's up to 60 seconds of video there. And then the stories are at the top. See those little circles at the top? That's where the stories live, and they are visible for 24 hours at a time, and they rotate. So if you keep adding to your story, you'll see that particular story, that particular image or video for the 24-hour period, and then it'll kind of disappear. And if you've added more images up there, they'll live on for that 24-hour period. It's kind of Instagram's answer to Snapchat. And when you open it up, your image is much longer there, and you can add text to it. You can kind of do some fun things with little templates in there and kind of pretty it up a little bit with some drawing that you can hand draw in there. And then people can reply directly to your story. So a little more about stories, because a lot of people aren't familiar with them. It's just about a year ago that they came out, and it really is Instagram's answer to Snapchat. And they are more visible to your followers because they stay there. So your followers will see your picture if you have a story up there. So a lot of times I will share an image as just a regular image on Instagram, but I'll also share it as a story so that people can see it in case they miss it in their feed. So stories don't go into the feed, but you can double post with a story and a picture as well. Hashtags are important, and they do help you get more visibility. And what happens is when you post a hashtag, people can break that hashtag out and see all the posts from that hashtag. It's very similar to Twitter hashtags if you've used those in the past. Sometimes there's spam in those hashtags, so you kind of have to look at the hashtags you want to participate in. You can see how many posts are part of that hashtag, so you can see how popular it is, and then you consider using that hashtag within your post as well to get more visibility. There is kind of an ideal number. There's been research on that, and it feels like a lot, 11 hashtags for an Instagram post. I always tell people, if you only have 3 that you want to use, that's totally fine. Again, just research the hashtags that you think would be really appropriate for your business. This is a client of mine who does a great job on Instagram. She posts about healthy living, and she, typically what people do is post those hashtags just a little bit below the text there so that she kind of has what she's talking about and then posts the hashtags a little bit below. So your Instagram strategy is just posting about 2 to 3 times a week. You can post more. Like I said, this is kind of a generic strategy. You may determine that Instagram is your jam and that's where you want to really connect. That's where your audience is and you love doing it. So you can post more if you want. But I would say to be visible and to kind of keep that connection going. Post at least 2 to 3 times a week, use the Instagram stories, and go out there with some hashtags that you've researched, and then kind of use those very strategically and very consistently. So Twitter, Twitter is kind of the place to go complain. Twitter, people really, and I actually am guilty of this too. I go onto Twitter when I have some customer service issue. I'll go find the company and I'll tweet to them if I'm not getting through in the regular channels. So this is really more for larger companies, I find, for the customer service. But it is still a great place to go out and really connect with people. It is becoming more visual, and this is a tool that I use to kind of monitor Twitter. I use Hootsuite. I like it because I can kind of use it as a dashboard and kind of break things into columns, so I can instantly take a look and see who's mentioning me in a tweet, who's retweeting some of my things. I can look at my tweets to make sure that I've got good content going out. I do schedule a lot of my blog posts to kind of go through a cycle where I'm tweeting fairly often. That way I know that I've got good content, and then I supplement with additional things that I'm doing sometimes I'll post an Instagram picture to Twitter as well. So that's how I'm using Twitter personally. And hashtags are big on Twitter as well. I'm usually using them for things like tweet chats or for conferences. I'm really going in and following the people who are in that tweet chat or at that conference so I can connect with them, and I'm also participating in that conversation. You really can only get 1 to 3 hashtags in. Some people get more, but I think it looks a little weird when your whole tweet is just all hashtags. It doesn't make any sense. So use them well by just adding a few hashtags when needed. And then my favorite kind of ninja tip here that not a lot of people know about is Twitter lists. This is a real gold mine of targeted accounts. And what Twitter lists is people who have curated a list of people, of other Twitter users, and put a subject line on them. So for example, this there's Twitter list from Jill Conrath. She's a member of, I actually can't read that, it's too small, but it's women who talk about, I think it's women who talk, I need my glasses. You can go into that list and see all the people on that list, and you can find local lists, you can find people about your, in your niche, and search on those and really find a great group of people to possibly follow, maybe connect with. Maybe if you're looking for influencers that you're not aware of, this would be a list that maybe someone has put together, and you can potentially find really good contacts. And you can follow them, like I said, to connect with them. So your Twitter strategy is really a little bit more posting on Twitter, because the shelf life of a tweet is really short. It's really only about 10, 15 minutes, and then it kind of falls off the visibility scale there. So if you are going to be on Twitter, I do suggest you post more often, 2 to 3 times a day. Use those images and grow your following by going out and following others and talking to them. So now let's dive into LinkedIn, and I imagine a lot of people are kind of active on LinkedIn. When I go and present it to people like yourselves, usually most of the people are using LinkedIn because that is more of a businessy focused social platform. But I just want to kind of highlight a few things that I think are important with LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, you've got the personal profile, company pages, groups, jobs, and content. And having something you do around each of those can be helpful. You don't have to do all of these things to do well on LinkedIn. I think content is a really great opportunity that a lot of people aren't using, and I'll talk a little bit about that. So your big thing is just really posting status updates so that your connections are seeing you. Again, people are looking at the news feed. If they're on LinkedIn for Business, that's where a lot of people can be hanging out. So posting links, videos, YouTube links work in LinkedIn. Again, having those images can really help your post stand out. And then make sure you're interacting with others. I go in and try and comment on other posts I see just to, again, stay top of mind with my connections. I think articles is a great way to stand out with your content on LinkedIn. So I will repost some of my best blog posts on LinkedIn. You can really make it beautiful. You can add in images, you can have links, you can have headings, and the article can get more visibility than your actual blog post, which is really, really cool as another way to, get that great content that you worked hard on out to your potential audience. So consider reposting some of your content on LinkedIn. And connecting, that's one of the other big ways to go out and be more visible, because what happens when you make a lot of connections is you come up higher in the searches. So you are, when someone does a search in your area, they'll find that their first, second, and third connections are the ones that appear higher in that search. So by having those big connections, you can improve your search ranking on LinkedIn. And I've actually had clients who've just gotten business by going out and making 20 new connections a week and really optimizing their profile so that they are, saying exactly what they do, who they serve, and so making sure you've got a really optimized profile that tells your story can be the biggest part that you need to do first before starting to connect with people. So your LinkedIn strategy is just posting 2 to 3 times a week with some of this content. It's okay to post the same content across channels. Just make sure that your content looks good when you post it. Make sure you've got your profile optimized. And company pages are a little bit harder to grow. They're more like Facebook pages in that people have to go find your company page and follow it. You can't go out and follow other people with your company page. It's kind of more of an inbound strategy there. But when you're connecting with 10 to 20 new people, that is more of that outbound strategy with your personal profile. And just, again, make that connection by commenting on other people's posts so that you are more visible. And I know this sounds like a lot of things to do, and I'm not suggesting that we do all the social platforms. We don't have to do all of them. Pick 1 or 2 and do those really well and focus on that. I think for really large corporations who have a marketing staff, they can focus on all the social platforms. But if you're a smaller business, pick just 1 or 2 of those and do those really well. So don't get overwhelmed. I know it can feel overwhelming. So now let's talk about getting leads with social media, and what does that actually mean? And it can mean different things for different types of businesses, but I kind of couch it like this in general. And your lead process may be a little different depending on if you're a realtor, if you're a certain different type of business. This may not be totally appropriate, but I've seen businesses work this same strategy and do really well. So your first step is to develop a lead magnet. And what I mean by that is just something that is valuable that you can give away, that people will exchange their email address for, or their phone number perhaps if you wanted to ask for a phone number. It's a little harder to get a phone number from someone, but an email address is a little bit easier. And then what you want to do is set up a landing page, and what that means is really just a page on your website or a page that's a little bit distraction-free, so it doesn't have all kinds of sidebars and all kinds of information on it, but you're setting up a landing page where you're talking about that lead magnet and telling people what's available with it and asking them to give their email address to you. And then you want to make sure that you've got some way to measure how your leads are coming in. So that can be Google Analytics, and you're watching the analytics there to see how people are converting. It could be the Facebook pixel if you're advertising with that lead magnet. It could be other pixels on other social sites. That's a kind of an advertising strategy, but Google Analytics, or if your website has some system to track conversions, and you want to make sure you're watching that. And then what you're going to do is drive that targeted traffic to your landing page from social media. So you're going to send a link in a post saying, hey, I've got this free thing. Maybe it's a free coupon, maybe it's a free ebook, or maybe it's a webinar or something like that. Get the information and give me your email address and I'll give you the information. So that's kind of the overall idea there. But again, like I said, your system may look a little different. So this is what it can look like in terms of a funnel. So you've got the social post, you send people to the website, and then you have a page where you deliver that free thing. So in this example, I've got a set of ebooks that I talk about, and then they go to my website and they can see a little bit more about what's in the ebooks, and they say, yep, that's something I need, and they give me their email address, and then on the very next page I say, here are your ebooks, you can download them right here. And I am tracking those conversions through Google Analytics and also using the Facebook ad pixel if I'm driving advertising traffic to that. You have to start with something good, though. If no one is opting in to your freebie, maybe it's kind of a dud. You don't want to, if you don't have a good product and you're not getting any conversions, then there are a lot of times something wrong with kind of how you describe that or what it's all about, and it's time to maybe go back to the drawing board. You know, nothing can really save the picnic pants. I don't know why people want to have a picnic on their pants, but apparently that was an idea someone had at some point. So here are some giveaway ideas, and sometimes it takes testing several of these to see what is your best. I have found personally that I get much better opt-in conversion rates with an ebook rather than a webinar. But I've seen clients who have the opposite. Their audience really likes the webinar, or they really like the 3-part video series, and maybe it's a challenge. Maybe it's, if you're a local business, maybe it's just a promo code or something special that they can come into your store and get. If you're an author, maybe it's a free chapter to a book. If you're a consultant, maybe it's a 15-minute free phone call that they can get with you. So here's an example. I use leadpages.net, and that is an easy way to have a template. That is a paid tool, but it gives me easy ways to set up templates and create this landing page that's kind of distraction-free there. I always talk about who we are as the people who are delivering this freebie, so people kind of can learn more about me and where their email address is going. And then and then just make sure you're posting regularly about that lead magnet. And you can use ads, like I said, and you can track conversions with that. So now let's talk about positioning yourself as the expert. How does social media help you with that? And there are the biggest reasons are creating really great content for people. So people are looking for your expertise. They want to know what you do and what makes you unique in your field. So I worked with some people who were carpet cleaners, and they really just talked about their philosophy as carpet cleaners and how they were the experts in the area, and they created little videos for that. This is one of my clients, Sue Larkey, who is an expert in Asperger's and things like that, and she does these free trainings and kind of has workshops all over Australia. She's really great at that and has lots of really good content that helps parents and educators. And then, just even saying what you're doing right then. If you're being interviewed or if you're speaking about something, then just make sure people know what you're doing. And then quick tips. I love this easy lunch boxes. She does little videos about how to make healthy lunches for your kids. And she uses her products that are available on Amazon on how to pack a lunch, make it nutritious, and just a really quick video. I do little quick tips where I take a screenshot of something, I post something useful for people, and then that gets shared and distributed because it's helpful to my audience. Make sure you're tooting your own horn. This is the Colorado Farm Bureau. They talked about what they were doing. They're doing all these letters, and they're talking about how they're writing these letters on the farmers' behalf to lobby and to make differences in legislation. Brian Carter is a friend of mine who posts videos of him speaking. So make sure you're not too quiet about what you're doing. So now let's talk about getting referrals with social media. How does that work? And a lot of times that works just by being present in groups. And I think that when people know what you do and know what you're an expert at, they will naturally refer you. Sometimes groups have times where they say, hey, everyone posts their Facebook page, let's all connect. Sometimes people are asking for help within a trusted group, and if you are participating in that group, your name can come up. So that's a great place to connect. Also, allow people to share your content easily. I see sometimes on websites there's no easy way to share that content. I use a plugin called SumoMe, and it has the share buttons on the sidebar there, and they kind of flow with the content so that anytime someone might want to share, if I write a long article, they can just hit that share button, and it gives them a chance to share my information, which is super valuable. It gives that information more reach. And then reviews, opening up the reviews on your Facebook page, or thinking about where else your reviews might appear. Maybe it's Yelp, maybe it's Google, even though those aren't necessarily, they're sort of social sites, but having reviews, even if you're not a local business, can be a really good thing because it's showing your social proof, and that's what people want to see. They want to see that other customers have had a good experience with you. And sometimes people get a little nervous about opening up the reviews because they're like, uh-oh, what if someone says something bad about me? Well, that's a chance for you to respond. And negative reviews, there's been lots of studies about how negative reviews don't necessarily sway people from doing business with you. If you respond, or if they see you as trying to correct the issue, that's what potential customers want to see. They want to know that you're going to try and work with them if they're not satisfied. And then just asking for reviews. This is a friend of mine who's a realtor. He just said, I'm never too busy for your reviews, reminding his personal connections here on Facebook, what he does, and the fact that he's available if people are looking to sell their home. So it's a great way to just make sure people know what you do. So like I mentioned throughout this presentation, I really think social media is just so powerful to help nurture and grow those connections. And it takes some time. It's a little bit longer game than maybe going out and making sales calls, but people are on social media talking about you whether you're there or not. So why not be part of the conversation and go there and just make sure you've got a set time and you're not wasting too much of your time. Go in, do some of this posting like I mentioned, and then get on with your day. I know we all are busy. We have a lot to do, but just by going and being a regular presence there can really help your business. So some final thoughts on this are just to really kind of focus on visual and video. Make sure that you're tracking what's working for you. do some experimenting on the different social sites. Watch where your traffic is coming from on Google Analytics, and just take consistent action and really kind of see what it does for you in terms of your analytics. So that's my advice, and thank you guys so much. We'll have some time for some questions now. I also wanted to give you one other quick resource. I dive a little bit deeper into social media strategy in this free training, so people can feel free to connect there. It's a 1-hour webinar. Definitely go and check that out because there's so much strategy to growing your social sites and tracking that goes a little bit deeper in that training. So thank you guys so much, and awesome. Let's get to some questions. So great. Okay, so humor being important. So the LinkedIn is becoming more like Facebook, I find. But I think the issue is LinkedIn works, or humor works on all social sites. So that's kind of the issue. People are using humor because it gets a little bit more engagement. I kind of feel a little funny about humor on LinkedIn, though. I don't use as much humor there as I do with Facebook. So again, I think it's really up to you to decide how you want to show up and how your business shows up on each of these social platforms. It might be a little bit different for you, and maybe too much humor isn't right for you on LinkedIn, but I think that it is definitely becoming more of a place for memes and things than it ever has before. So let's look at tagging. Yeah, so tagging, what happens when you tag someone on Facebook, and actually all the social sites, so when you tag another business or someone's name, first of all, that person or that business gets a notification that you've tagged them. But on Facebook especially, and actually also on the other social sites as well, but it will have the more potential to show up to the fans of that business or that person because you have tagged them. So, think of it as a way to reach another audience. And what you want to make sure you're doing is being very careful about the way you're tagging people. You're not tagging people with your offer. You're tagging them because you are maybe promoting them or lifting them up. That's the way I like to use tagging. I know that sometimes people tag, tag just to kind of have their post go farther, and that's not the way you want to do it. So I hope that helps a little bit there. Let's see. Oh yeah, should you set up a separate page for your business? Yeah, I think definitely you do need to have a separate Facebook page for your business. And when I say separate, it's really just setting up a page. Your page will be connected to your profile, but it won't. It will look like it's not separate, but it really is. So, that's the kind of thing that people need to make sure they understand, is that it is a business name and it's a Facebook page, which is different than a profile, but they're kind of connected in a way when you log in, but they're not really connected. So I hope that answers your question. So let's look at privacy. Are there privacy is a hot topic. Are there rules regarding spam if you are marketing or promoting your business on Facebook? Yeah, if you're marked as a spammer within messages, for example, Facebook could kind of shut down your messaging capability. If you're in a group and spamming too much and not adhering to the rules of the group, you can get kicked out of that group. There's rules around what you can advertise with your Facebook page, and there's also terms and conditions within Facebook's use. So you kind of want to make sure you're adhering to those. Typically, it's mostly about like hate speech and things like that. If you're posting things like that or harassing, people can report you if you're harassing someone, and then your profile could get shut down. So that's kind of some of the generic rules around spam. spam usually is when you're contacting someone, personally on the messenger, and then your messenger could get shut down. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so privacy. Okay, so let's see. I know there's a lot of questions that came in. I'm going to answer a couple more of these here. I don't know if we can go over time at all. I know that we have a lot of questions that came in.
Hi, Andrea. We have indeed. We've got lots and lots of questions coming in. We've got time for probably 2 more questions, and then unfortunately the way the platform works, it will actually close us off.
Okay. All right. So let's answer boosting questions. So boosting questions boosting posts on Facebook does really work, but make sure it's working for you as far as what your goal is. If you're trying to get traffic to your website, watch how much traffic you're getting and how much it's costing you per click. And you can see that in your advertising platform, how much it's costing you. So hope that helps. And let's just double check one more. I thought hopefully we posted posting a story on Instagram. That's really just at the top of the mobile, there's a little plus button that helps you post a story. So hopefully that helps. That was a kind of a quick answer, but it's at the very top of the platform, and then you can post a story. So give that a try because it is more visible. So great. Hopefully that's
Andrea,
there's a lot.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much, and to have gone through the full suite of social media platforms and give us all so much information. The questions are still coming in.
Yeah.
I noticed there the feedback is that there's been some really great actionable advice that people can actually take away and work on. It's been absolutely brilliant. It's been just a fantastic session.
Awesome.
Just so that everybody's aware, we will be making sure that you all get a copy of the presentation emailed out to you. You will also be able to come back onto to Bright Talk again and watch and listen to Andrea's presentation. It normally takes a couple of hours, but hopefully that will be done. There are lots and lots of amazing questions that we will try and get answered and get sent out to everybody with follow-up. But Andrea, thank you so much for your time and for the amazing information, and a massive thank you to the hundreds and hundreds of people that have joined us. I hope that you've learned a great deal from Andrea and can get out there and put into action what you've learned. So thank you so much to everybody.
Thanks so much for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye.